Simeone's Atleti haunt Red Card FC once again, whilst PSG breeze past a toothless red side, and Iraola is on the move, and Gary Neville buys out Mark Goldbridge on YouTube. This is DMAC Daily. It's deja vu for Barcelona, taken out in a two-legged tie by a resilient Simeone side twice in the space of a month. But it's more so deja vu in the sense that Barca have yet again crumbled in Europe. Yet again with their high line approach backfiring. Yet again with another red card altering the equation further. Yet again their UCL story becomes another what if moment. Just like last season and the season prior. In all three of those failures, there's a recurring theme. They somehow managed to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. Today, they did the unthinkable very quickly. They overturned that deficit within 24 minutes away from home. That in itself should have completely demoralized Atleti's spirit. Yet 5 minutes later, the home side then masterfully exploited that high line, and Lookman made no mistake. Back on top, morale restored, and they inevitably went on to win this tie on aggregate. Barca will rue further missed opportunities. Perhaps the decision to take off Ferran was a poor one in hindsight, and no doubt the fan base will be left thinking, if only Rafinha was healthy. Again, all what ifs. But I feel like this isn't the main story we should be focusing on here, because I can't help but be captivated at the revival of Atletico Madrid. For all the talk in recent years that Atleti need to move on from Simeone, or that his methods had simply gone stale, well, it's 2026. And he's just guided his side to a European semi-final, utilizing his favored, tried and tested 4-4-2 setup. Are they identical to their previous teams? In terms of individual quality, I'd say no. That OG back four is impossible to replicate, but the collective mindset Simeone has instilled in this group of players is eerily similar, and they still have so many weapons, so many ways that they can punish you in an instant. Even with key players missing, no Henko, no Pubil, no Barrios, they still got it done. Even with Longley at the back, who unsurprisingly had himself a bit of a stinker, Atleti persevered and deservedly went on to advance. And can we talk about that goal? Sure, Barca's defending was peak Barca, but the link-up play there is magical. The first time defense-splitting ball from Griezmann to the ultimate workhorse in Llorente, who then perfectly finds Lookman at the back stick. What a goal, what a signing Lookman has been. Some people questioned the price tag back in January, 35 mil for a player whose contract was set to expire in 6 months. Bit pricey, but he has been such a transformative figure within this team, adding that much-needed speed and end product out wide. Separate note, Llorente, what a freakish athlete. I know he's got a reputation for being a bit of an oddball. As a pasty white boy, can't say he's convinced me with his sunscreen take, but in terms of sheer footballing ability, the guy is literally the archetype player for a Simeone side. Unlimited work rate, a constant threat on the counter, whilst also putting in a shift defensively. He can do it all. However, the same praise could be pointed in the direction of Ruggeri today, of Musso in goal, or the old guard of Koke and Griezmann. Take your pick, really. All in all, it was a wonderful team performance. Many expected Atleti to just park the bus and hold on for dear life. Haram ball to the extreme. But that's not what happened today. Ironically, Atleti were probably better on this occasion than they were the week prior. They too created a lot of chances. Joan Garcia came up with some big saves. It was a very evenly matched game of football. But to have inevitably gotten the better of Barcelona in a two-legged tie twice this season, I don't think Atleti will fear any team moving forward now. They have the quality to hurt anyone. They have the humility to suffer for 180 minutes, potentially even longer. And then there's the Simeone factor of it all, the Cholismo philosophy. Unlike the dictator at Real Madrid, Simeone is a leader that can galvanize a group of players like few others can in the football world. He's never been able to win that illustrious UCL trophy. It's the one thing that maybe holds him back from being put in the conversation of the all-time greats. But I truly think something special is brewing in Madrid. Truth be told, we should have known a big performance was on the cards. Look at the atmosphere the home fans generated today as the players arrived at the Metropolitano. Just unreal scenes. Now, there's still a long way to go, but I wouldn't be surprised to see these guys go all the way. I also wouldn't be surprised to see the reigning champions go all the way either. Just like last season, they have now farmed multiple English clubs in the UCL. This time, it was a hard-fought 2-0 victory at Anfield. Same scoreline as the first leg, yet it was nowhere near as dominant this time round. Unlike most of the season, Liverpool actually kind of showed up today, and PSG had to suffer for large spells of this contest. Yet Marquinhos came up with a heroic last-ditch block. Safonov delivered his best performance in a PSG shirt too. No doubt Enrique will be thrilled with his goalkeeping heroics, and having held on in key moments, it's the individual quality that inevitably shone through. Their Ballon d'Or hero Dembele, who, truth be told, went missing in the first leg, showed up when it mattered most, sending McAllister for a hot dog and sending PSG into the semis. Ruthless stuff from the Frenchman. There's something about his style that is so terrifying because there's no stepovers, there's no outrageous trickery required. It's just the fundamentals that he has mastered, and the fact that he's more or less ambidextrous means players have to overcompensate. That goal seemingly ended the tie, and 15 minutes later, he then closes out the show. Job done for PSG. Their star is hitting Ballon d'Or level form in the business end of the season. They are still the real deal. However, Liverpool will be disappointed nonetheless. That's basically a wrap on their season. Only time will tell if that's also a wrap on Slot's Liverpool career. His side weren't completely outclassed today, but have evidently regressed this season, which is rather baffling considering the scale of investment that it coincides with. Slot took risks in both legs of this tie. The back three experiment didn't work at all in leg one, and the diamond midfield with Ekitike and Isak was unable to deliver either. Granted, it didn't help that Ekitike suffered an injury, but I don't think anyone's using that as an excuse. This outcome also potentially means that this was the last UCL outing of Salah's career. It's definitely his last as a Red, that's for sure. So yeah, all in all, a deflating evening from a Liverpool perspective, but PSG are back to their brilliant best. Moving to managerial news, and a big story overnight in that Andoni Iraola will depart Bournemouth at the end of the season after a highly successful 3-year stint at the Cherries. Now, before the La Liga snobs come at me, I'm aware he was doing phenomenal work beforehand at Rayo Vallecano, but there's no denial that his Premier League performances have taken his reputation to another level as one of the best upcoming managers in Europe. This season in particular, he has really flourished, guiding Bournemouth to a record Premier League points tally. He's currently on a 12-game unbeaten run as of today too, all whilst playing an ambitious brand of football with youth development also prioritized. As a whole, I've been so impressed with Iraola. You know, he basically lost his entire back four last season, and whilst he isn't responsible for the subsequent recruitment in itself, his ability to recalibrate the squad and continually improve shows that he's a highly skilled coach. Same thing happened in January. Their best player departs, and they somehow got even better. It mirrors his earlier work at Rayo Vallecano too, where he similarly overachieved within financial constraints. So I'm curious as to where he goes next. Perhaps Real Madrid could be interested. He'd been linked with the job previously, but I could also see him at a Big Six Premier League club too. The sky really is the limit for the Basque tactician, as is the case for Marie-Louise Eta, having become the first female manager ever appointed in a top 5 men's league as the interim coach of Union Berlin. Granted, this isn't the first time we've seen a female manager in the men's professional game. Corinne Diaker coached Ligue de Saint-Clément for 3 years. Hannah Dingley was appointed interim coach of English 4th tier club Forest Green Rovers back in 2023, although she didn't actually oversee any matches during that spell. And in 2024, Sabrina Whitman took charge of German 3rd tier club Ingolstadt, where she still holds the role as of today. But to see a 34-year-old female appointed, that is truly groundbreaking stuff, even if it is an interim appointment. Granted, this is technically Eta's second stint leading Union Berlin. Having coached at various levels in Germany, in 2023, she'd be appointed as Union's assistant, where she even famously took charge of the first team whilst the outright manager was serving a suspension, leading Union to victory that day too. Then, having taken a year off coaching professionally, she returned as the men's U19s coach and has since agreed to become the women's senior manager from next season onwards. But following the club's sudden decision to sack their men's manager, Eta has now taken the reins for the final 5 games of the season, which is all the more significant considering they are still at mathematical risk of relegation. So yeah, a seismic moment in football history, as Etta becomes not only the first female Bundesliga manager, but the first female to ever lead any top-flight men's league. So keep an eye out this Saturday as Union take on Wolfsburg, one of the more compelling fixtures over the weekend. And to close out today's episode, here we go. Gary Neville's media company, The Overlap, has acquired the YouTube channels of Mark Goldbridge in an undisclosed 7-figure deal, marking a major consolidation in football's digital media space. Goldbridge's channels, the United Strand and That's Football, will now operate under the Overlap umbrella. Although, despite the acquisition, Goldbridge will still remain the face of both channels. Neville described the move as a step toward building one of the most exciting independent football communities in the world, with plans to expand the content further, including new Manchester United-focused shows like Stick to United and The Daily United, featuring former players and journalists. The acquisition builds on Goldbridge's recent innovations too, including securing Bundesliga live streaming rights, an unprecedented move for a UK-based YouTube creator. It also strengthens the Overlap's position following investment from Global Media and Entertainment into their channel. There's a lot of money now being spent in the digital media football ecosystem. So that's the nuts and bolts of the acquisition. Now for my personal take on it all. And Gary Neville, where you at, my guy? I preemptively accept your 7-digit offering of T-Mac Daily. No, but in all seriousness, I'm curious as to where the direction is for independent football media moving forward following this move. Goldbridge is clearly a titan of the industry already, probably the most influential figure from a footballing lens outside of a Fabrizio Romano or like a Speed. So I'd imagine this investment will only aid the juggernaut that he has already built. It's a crazy world out there. Who knows? Maybe one day Lil Bro D-Mac might get his own financial takeover. Anyways, legends, thanks so much for tuning in as always. Your support is greatly appreciated, and I'll catch you tomorrow.